Welcome to day 4 of our study of the books of 1st and 2nd Kings. Now, we have to clarify, even though the people of God, generally, the whole Israelite people, the northern and the southern kingdom, even though all of them still turn their hearts away from God, God still allowed some kings to be good. So not all kings here are bad. There were good kings and there were bad kings, and as you read them, their rule, it will be explained what they did during their time and whether they became a good king or they became a bad king. Now remember, we said that the whole people of God became divided into two kingdoms, the northern and the southern. Rehoboam, the son of Solomon, reigned in the southern, while in the northern it was Jeroboam, and then there will be a list of kings. And then in the southern kingdom, there will be a succession of kings as well. Now, this succession of kings in the southern kingdom, at times there will be bad kings, but there will be good kings. And those good kings still remained in the line of David. So when God promised a dynasty from David, it still happened. Although it's continuing now in the southern kingdom, in the kingdom of Judah. In the northern kingdom, since it's not connected to the line of David, they were all consistently filled with bad kings. In southern kingdom, every now and then there would be good kings. When you read that they're from Israel, you will notice that the reign will be automatically be bad. But when they're from Judah, sometimes they're good, sometimes they're bad. So we will continue reading from the book of 2nd Kings. Remember, we talked about Elijah and how he challenged the prophets of Baal. Elijah was a mighty prophet of God, and he did many wonderful miracles. When Elijah was taken up to heaven by God, he was taken by a chariot of fire. Talk about grandiose exit. So Elijah did not die. Elijah was taken up by a chariot of fire, brought up to heaven, and he was succeeded by his apprentice Elisha. Elijah was succeeded by Elisha. Elisha continued to become a prophet, reminding people to turn back to God, and he became a prophet who did more wonderful works than Elijah. All these miracles, it's God's way of getting the attention of the people and showing them that, look, I, Yahweh, I am the true God. He continuously displays His power. But again, as we discussed, despite of that, people would still turn away from God. There's one remarkable verse for me in 2 Kings chapter 13. It's in verse 22 to 23. Now Hazael, king of Syria, oppressed Israel all the days of Jehoahaz. Verse 23. But the Lord was gracious to them and had compassion on them. And He turned toward them because of His covenant with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and would not destroy them, nor has He cast them from His presence until now. Why is this verse remarkable for me? This is the principle for today. In spite of our sins, God is gracious to us, not because we deserve it, but because He is faithful. In our current language, when we talk about faith, it's always associated with religion. But when you talk about faith or faithfulness, it's always connected with a promise. In the biblical term, that promise is called covenant. It's called a relationship in essence. So faithfulness is always attached to promise and relationship. Now God is faithful because He keeps His promises and He keeps His relationship, His covenant with His key people. He made a promise with Noah. He made a promise with David. He made a promise with Abraham, with Isaac, with Jacob. He also made a promise with Moses. So God made all these promises. So while the people of God kept on sinning, kept on turning away from God, they keep on forsaking the relationship. But God is not like that. God is faithful. And here in this verse, we read that despite the sinfulness, despite the unfaithfulness, despite the adultery, God still would not relent, still would not forsake all of Israel because He is faithful. These people, definitely, actually this extends to us. Historically, it talks about the ancient Israelites, but in essence, this extends to us. We are all unfaithful. And we all deserve to suffer and experience trials, hardship. But God is just so gracious to us, not because we deserve it, because we don't. He's gracious to us because He made a promise. And guess what? He is faithful.